create cool and inspiring events at AdAmerica? Easy. You can go to our website at www.adamerica.or.id. If you've clicked it,
Hello, everyone. Welcome to AdAmerica TV. My name is Anton. I'm one of AdAmerica's e-guides, and we would like to welcome all of our audience joining us online. AdAmerica is the U.S. Embassy's American Center here in Jakarta, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. If you are joining us through Zoom, there are a couple of features that I would like to walk you through. If you have questions for our panelists today, you can use the raise hand feature, or you can also write your questions in the chat box. You can also say hi to the other participants and also to our panelists through the chat box. We would like to remind everyone to use these features wisely. In today's episode, we will be having a discussion with our EducationUSA advisors, Fina, Alatas, and also Santika, Salim, about studying in the United States. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And before we begin today's event, I have an icebreaker question for you guys. And the question is, which early U.S. patriot and inventor founded the University of Pennsylvania? Is it A, Alexander Hamilton, B, John Adams, C, Benjamin Franklin, or D, Alexander Graham Bell? I'll repeat one more time. Which early U.S. patriot and inventor founded the University of Pennsylvania? Is it A, Alexander Hamilton, B, John Adams, C, Benjamin Franklin, or D, Alexander Graham Bell? You can answer this question through our Facebook Live comment. I would also like to remind you to take a selfie and tag us at @America, and that is AT America. Okay, without further ado, let's start tonight's event. I would like to give the floor to our EducationUSA advisor, Fina, and also Santika. Fina, Santika, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Anton?
I'm doing great. I hope you guys are doing great as well.
Yes.
Hi,
Santika.
Tom.
Hi.
Hello, Santika.
Hi. Doing great.
Okay, the floor is yours. Take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Anton. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining in. Welcome to AdAmerica TV. My name is Fina. And
my name is Santika. We are here
Yes.
to actually have a good chat with all of you. And if you have any questions, we would love to try our best to answer your questions.
Great. So basically, both of us are the EducationUSA advisors based in AdAmerica, Pacific Place, Jakarta. But as you may already know, we are moving digital. So although a lot of us have to stay at home, and please do stay at home if you can, but this is also like really great because the whole AdAmerica team, we are here, we are still able to basically give you like this kind of events, this kind of sessions. So you don't have to basically missing out on anything related to studying in the US. And so this event is basically to letting you guys know that EducationUSA is here. Santika and we're still basically like working and waiting to have a chat with you, one-on-one advising, only that usually we urge everyone to kind of like come to AdAmerica side, but this time we are basically going virtual, right? And I believe this is my third time since going digital to have an interactive, a somewhat interactive sessions. Last time I was still in America with like a great lighting, great camera, and now since we have to work from home, I'm actually in my room. And but this session tonight is very different because as some of you may have been to America before, you might be familiar like how usually or Santika we would usually come up to the stage and I would give you like I don't know, like a presentation where I would talk for like an hour and a half nonstop. But tonight is different because look, I don't have any presentation. I'm not preparing any presentation whatsoever because what we're going to have tonight, just like what it's called, it's chat with EducationUSA Advisors. So not only you guys can ask us questions or like leave some comments, but we would also like to hear from you guys. Like, please, you know, like share with us your name and your US study plan. And so, having said that, this is this is my first time doing like Zoom meeting where I can basically like see the attendees tonight, and it's really great. We have like 45 people in the room, which is like my goodness. I mean, minus the America team who is also here. But yeah, no, I mean, it's really great. And I welcome everyone. You don't have to, but if you want to turn your video on. So I see Myra, Carmila here. She's starting her video on. Hi, thanks for joining in. If some of you also want to do the same, please do so. The only thing is that you guys can definitely talk verbally. It's just that let us know in advance. Either you kind of like raise your hands in the video or in front of your camera, or like raise your hand in the Zoom, and then our team is already standing by, and then we will unmute you so that you can talk. All right. And then Santika will basically also kind of like answering some questions in the chat box feature. So basically tonight is all about being interactive, right? So I would like to hear your updates. I would love to hear some of your questions. But then for some of you who might be kind of like shy and don't want to be kind of like in the spotlight, don't worry. You can simply like just type it in the chat box, all right? And I would also like to say hi to everyone who is watching us through Facebook and Twitter. If you have any questions, you can definitely leave your questions or comments, what have you, in the comment box, and then our team basically will let Santika and I know that question. Or why not join us here in the Zoom room? We can just simply go to America's website, look for this event tonight, chat with EducationUSA America Advisors, and then you can register real quick through the Zoom. And if you already have Zoom on your phone or your laptop, it will automatically let you guys in here. All right. So before we start, I would also like, just in case we have like new people here and kind of like maybe you know about this event from friends and then kind of like not familiar with like who are we, like who is EducationUSA. So I will actually have Santika to basically share with us just a little bit, you know, information about like what is EducationUSA, what the kind of services that we provide. So please, Santika.
Hi guys, so if you guys are here from the beginning of this event, you may already see our cool video of the 5 facts of Education USA and what we actually do here. But if not, if you just join in and you kind of missed that, so I'm going to repeat this with to you, but kind of like verbally. So I want to repeat this because one of the main thing that I want to deliver is that we are trustworthy. So you don't have to worry about a thing when you try to meet Fina or me and disclosing your plan to study, and you have this big dream, right, going to US. So you don't have to be scared that we are going to, you know, like just like not helping you or something like that. So Education USA is U.S. Department of State with network over 400 international student advising center around the world. So that's like over 170 countries, and we promote U.S. higher education to students around the world. We offer accurate and comprehensive current information and also opportunities to study in accredited university in the United States. So you can totally try to ask any questions regarding your study to us. We will do our best to answer you with the current information that we have, right? And what does Education USA actually provide is basically we like to divide things into 5 steps. So the first step is actually researching your options. So whether you have not decided which degree you want to pursue or program, or which universities you want to apply to, we are here to actually help you sort things out. After you do your research, you can simply let us know, hey, Santika or Fina, I have this, I want to take this program, and then I see university A, B, C, and D have this program, but I'm confused. Like, how do I sort which one that I am applying to, right? So we are here to actually help you and ask you questions to help you figure things out, right? And the second step is basically financing your studies. So, whether you are trying to look for scholarship opportunities or other funding options, we are here to give you information and heads up on things that you need to prepare for applying, let's say, scholarships or things like that. And the third one is completing your application. And this one is like our highlight because a lot of the advices actually came to Fina and me for essay review, CV review, resume, questions about letter of recommendations, a lot of other things like regarding what you need to submit for the application. If you have any questions on that, you can come and find us to seek your answer. And on the step 4, we are having the apply for your student visa. So this step is actually after you got admitted to hopefully more than one universities, and you want to decide on one university to go to. Then you will have to apply for student visa. We have the step by step. It's not scary. So yeah, it's we have the step by step for you. When you are in that phase, you can, and you have confusion or what to do next and everything, you can come and find us and we will give the step by step to you. And the last one is actually prepare for your departure. This is the 5th step, and we usually do once a year event, and it's like our tradition, right, Fina?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a pre-departure orientation. It's a yearly event. We invite everyone who's going to the United States to study in the fall. But we also, since at America always make their events for public, so everyone is quite invited. Even if you're still applying, you haven't got accepted, you can still come in to see what is our pre-departure orientation looks like, and actually network with the people who are going, right? So yeah, I think Fina can talk more about the pre-departure orientation because it's so exciting to have that this year. That's about Education USA and the steps that we can give to you on how we guide each student and advisee to study in US. But I also want to let you know that we have 8 centers in Indonesia and 10 advisors. So we have 2 centers in Jakarta, one in at America and one in the US Embassy. Obviously, the one that's really open for public and kind of like unique time, opening time, is the at America one. And then we have 2 in Surabaya, one in Medan, one in Malang, Makassar, and Banda Aceh. So if you know anybody who wants to study to US but they're not, they have no clue on how to find information, please do refer them to Education USA. All right, that's my part. I will give it to Fina again.
All right, thank you so much, Santika. Santika will basically stay tuned in the chat box, but I will maybe kind of like ask you here and there some comments and share with us some of the questions. All right, so before we basically begin, and you guys seriously, like, I don't have any presentation. I'm not preparing any presentation, so I would basically just kind of like want to hear from you guys if you have any question. But I have like some topics on my note that I can kind of like touch based on that. But anyway, I would like to congratulate so far we have like 32 people on our list who already got accepted to US universities for the 2020 term. So I'm super excited, and it's still counting. So basically, sometimes this month, maybe like the end of April, the EducationUSA America team will basically just kind of like email blast to our advisees who have been with us since 6 months to a year ago, to kind of like share with us their update if they got accepted. But so far, without that email blast, we received 32, which is pretty like amazing. And a lot of you kind of like wondering about the PDO, or the pre-departure orientation. So that's basically kind of like on the very last tap of Education USA. Kind of a lot of people kind of like wondering, so Fina, with the current situation, are you guys going to have like video? So far, yes, we are still scheduled to have that sometimes in late June. We don't have the date yet, but I really hope that it's going to be happening in America. Even if we are still not ready to, like the social distancing is still happening. Hopefully we can have the video virtually like this. All right. And then it's also like really interesting to hear from some of our advisees who kind of like in a dilemma situation, because some of them got accepted to like 3-4 universities, and then now they just kind of like, no, what should I pick? Which one should I pick, right? And then that's kind of like also another favorite time for me as an advisor, because like, look, we've been together for so long, right? Like 6 months to like even like a year working together with your essay, preparing your GRE and all that. And then now we see another challenge, right? Like where you get accepted and then you kind of like, okay, now I don't know which one to pick. And then also we receive questions about people kind of like concerning with their visa application. At the moment, the visa appointment is not available. We do not know when is it going to open. But again, we are so very hopeful that the whole situation will be better in the near future. So then, in that way, you guys can apply for your visa on time. But you don't have to worry with your status. If you already get accepted and then you can't like apply on time, there are actually a lot of universities now kind of like being very flexible, meaning that they allow people who already get accepted, but due to the current situation, they allow you guys to kind of like defer your status. And some of you might kind of like, what is deferral mean? So deferral means that so you got accepted, right? And then you guys have the option to kind of like, instead of leaving and start your study for the following term, you basically put that on hold, and then it can be like for the next term, or even like 1 year. Okay. And you know what, I would actually just like to see if any of you want to like ask questions or leave a comment, or if you're some of our advisors here. Santika raised her hand.
Yeah. So before Fina give very interesting information regarding deferral, and I just have another kind of like additional piece on that. So with this kind of challenging situation, it does not mean that you have to stop preparing your application to US universities, because the good news is I just heard that they still send out I-20. I-20 is the document that you need in order to apply for your student visa. So they're totally still welcoming and accepting students internationally, and so it doesn't have to stop you from preparing your application at all. So you still have to use this time to prepare better, since you're working from home and it's more flexible. Allocate your time more for your application, and maybe that will help your application in general. And you can also still reach out to us and ask questions online and do advising online. So Fina, we have very good questions right here, and I think it's a a good like icebreaker. So we have Gayatri. She's asking a questions on, does anyone want to study for PhD and struggling in GMAT or GRE? Okay, time to raise your hand if you're applying for master or PhD and then you're struggling with the GRE, GMAT, TOEFL, IELTS. Raise your hand in, I think it's a blue color, right? We have 51 participants here, and let's say I exclude at America team, let's say 40. So nobody is okay. I have two, Corey, I have Muslimin also, and two of us actually struggling for that. Who else? Okay, so only two. Wow, we have a lot of students who are actually very good in GRE and GMAT actually. So so yeah, Gayatri, you are not alone. That's what I can say. And we have the GRE prep course resource online. So if you need that resource, you can email to us, or I can type it in our email, and then you can ask that from me. I will email it to you. And Fina, do you have anything to elaborate on the GRE or GMAT preparation?
Yeah.
What we
So this is like a really interesting topic, right? So usually when I have an advisee coming in, and then they kind of like, like really concerned about this GRE. So the first few things that I like to ask our advisee is, how strong are you in your math, right? And then like just once you said it's pretty good, like with confidence that you are actually really good in math, then I would be like, yeah, like I wouldn't be like really worried so much. Why do I ask that? The reason is because so as you may already know, right, with the GRE and GMAT, there's like the verbal section, and then there's like the quantitative section. The verbal section, so since we are not an English native, right, that English level is kind of like like insanely high, right? Even for an English native themselves, some of them might actually have a hard time dealing with the verbal section. So the reasons why I ask if you're actually really good in the math sections is so that you can kind of like balance out the whole score, right? So please do really, really, really well in the quant section. If possible, aim for like full score. And trust me, I actually do have a number of advisees where their quant section is full. Like I'm not surprised. Like you guys basically are, or like us in Indonesians in general, we are kind of like really strong in math. Probably like, except me. I'm like, don't ask math to me. But you guys are actually like already really strong in math. So and if you can actually like also do really good in the verbal section, then that's kind of like like that's the score, right? So that's that. And I again like so Gayatri, I don't know if you want to kind of like elaborate even more about like, is it like how is your math? Do you feel confident in sharing that with us? I can see Gayatri here. Do you want to kind of like
unmute?
yeah, can we unmute Gayatri? So you don't have to, no pressure, but if you okay, there you go.
Hi.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, currently I'm preparing. Actually, I have prepared. I have to
Is it just me, or I'm a bit
last year,
losing
of course.
Gayatri?
And
Yep.
I lost my voice too. Hi Gayatri, I think your connection is.
Yeah, can you repeat that again? Sorry.
hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, my quality bad. I'm instead of losing like between sections, it's really hard to focus on each questions actually. So yeah, I
Okay, I think we have kind of like a connection
my math
problem
is
here.
verbal. I'm trying to.
Okay, so maybe Santika want to kind of like follow up with Gayatri in the chat box.
Yep, I did. So I
Yeah.
sent her a private message on that. So yeah.
And so maybe something that I can also share with you guys is just in case this is kind of like your first time here and kind of like, hey, yeah, no, I want to study in the US, right? Like, where should I start? Like, where should I prepare my GRE and GMAT? We actually have our GRE and TOEFL prep course, full prep course in Ad America, and of course, everything that is from Ad America, it's free of charge. We actually just finished the third batch actually last month, and a lot of you guys kind of like ask Santika and I, like, are you guys going to have it again? Are you guys going to have it again? And I can't say that yet, but hopefully we're going to have it, right? So that would be great. But yeah, I mean, Gayatri, like, practice, of course. I mean, that sounds like really cliche, but I mean, I just do a lot of practice in that. Usually I would also like to start when an advisee coming in, I would like to kind of like checking in on where they are on their English level. So I would usually ask, have you been taking TOEFL before? Have you been taking IELTS before? And then what are the scores? So I would like to start from that. The reason is also because, of course, like obviously, when we are moving on to the next steps in the application process, everything will be all about English, right? Like once you kind of like have good scores in TOEFL or IELTS, then we can fairly say that we can move on to the next step, like with the GRE or the GMAT, or if you want to study like bachelor's degree, you can like take like SAT or ACT and all of that, and then of course like start with the essay admission. So yeah, that's that. Is there any other people who wants to ask question or share any comments, or if some of you in the room already get accepted and you kind of like want to share the news with all of us? Anybody?
So I followed. So Gayatri follow up, and she said she had difficulty in memorizing vocabulary. So as far as I know, for the GRE itself, for the verbal section, we are not supposed to memorize the dictionary, because I don't think that's realistic. And I heard the facilitator that was teaching the GRE, that's not the thing that they recommend you to do, right? You're supposed to kind of like learn to analyze the words. So yeah, I think giving you the video for a video recording link will help you better in learning. Is that right, Fina?
Yeah, no, completely. In fact, actually, I mean, I've never taken GRE test before, and some of our advisors shared with us that, like, even if like they're like memorizing like a lot of words, it's very often that when you actually take the test, none of the words actually came up, right? So again, exactly what Santika said, it's about like there's like a trick in like learning, like analyzing the word, and that's something that we've been covering in our GRE class. We actually have Muslimin Budiman here. Can we unmute Muslimin, so then Muslimin can basically share with us? Hi, Muslimin. All right. Yes, you
Hi.
can. Yes, hi.
So basically, I would like to apply my master degree in USA. So the major of the master degree is public health or health administration. So basically, I'm a medical student right now, but I'm not graduate for the medical doctor right now. So basically, I'm a bachelor degree, but not yet for the medical doctor. So I have to like planning for my next journey for the my next journey to take the master degree program in 2023. So basically, it's 3 years ahead. So I would like to ask about the GRE or GAT, sorry, or GMAT. GMAT is, so is it basically is same or both are they have a different section or between the GRE and GMAT. Could you explain about how the differences between GMAT and GRE, and then can we make it through the pass for the can we make pass part of the score to make it the test is credible to I mean like admitted and passing the score for the applying the master degree. Thank you.
Thank you, Muslimin. It's really interesting because I also like see in the chat box here asking about GMAT and GRE. So, okay, bring it on. Let's talk about GRE and GMAT, right? So, so here's the thing. So GMAT is very exclusive, only for those who wants to study business, right? So if you want to study like MBA and only MBA, you can basically take GMAT. GRE, on the other hand, is practically like all majors. In fact, a lot of business schools in the US for the graduate program, they actually accept GRE now, right? So so that's the difference. In terms of like the content of the test itself, it's like in general view is pretty much like the same, where you want to take like math and the English, which is the verbal, and then there is like some essays involved as well. And so, you know, like dealing with like a lot of advisees, what I can gather is a lot of us are doing really, really well in the GRE. No, in the math section, sorry, in the math section. So that's why, kind of like coming back to what I said earlier, that's kind of like the first few questions that I like to ask my advisees, like, how are you, like, how confident are you in your math, right? And actually a lot of my advice is kind of like, oh yeah, no, pretty good, right? So that's that. And so with the GRE, the score, the GRE and the GMAT, the score is also kind of like different. So with the GRE, it's more like per section. So like usually like when people, hi Fina, I just did my GRE, and the first questions that I like to ask is, what is like your score for the verbal and the quant, right? And then for each section, the full score is, I hope I'm not wrong, but it's 180. No, or 170. So as long as you can kind of like aim for the quant of 165, like 5 points less than the full score, you are doing amazing, right? Because a lot of us, when it comes to like the verbal section, it's kind of like in the 150. Sometimes people can go even like less. So it is just to kind of like show you how the GRE verbal can be very challenging for us, right? And so for the GMAT, when we look the score, it's kind of like the overall score. So it's not like what is your quant, what is your verbal. It's more like what is your overall score, which if I'm not mistaken, it's a full score of 800. And so it's 800 or 700. I need to double check on that. So and if you want to aim for like a good business schools, you want to kind of like aim yeah, someone said here 800. And so yeah, for GMAT, if you want to get accepted to kind of like the highly selective campuses, you want to aim like around 700 and above. So is it hard to get that score? It is really hard. But have I met some advisees who reached that score? Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes people aim, like they got their GMAT score in like around like 650 and above. So aim for like 650 and above, right? In the chat, Argado Simarmata here said that I think GMAT is only for MBA. Correct. So GMAT, like I said earlier, is very exclusive. That is only for MBA program, business related program. All right. So you said you want to study public health. We actually have a lot of Indonesians doing like public health in the US. So yeah, I mean, in like when we are back to America, hopefully soon, like we had like a lot of amazing events. So for example, like last year, we started the the US Alumni Fair. I have not done public health, but it's actually in my list. Like, I would like to have a US Alumni Fair specifically in public health. Last year, we did public administration and MBA. I would love to definitely have that again this year. So please stay tuned to what we're doing here. Follow our Instagram, email us so that we can add you on our database so you're not missing on anything, right? And also, like, another thing about me being an advisor, right? Like, on a daily basis when I'm like in America, I would meet like with an advisee one-on-one, right? But like, my whole goal is to kind of like connect my advisees to another advisees. And usually, and how do I do that? And well, by having this kind of events, right? So it's kind of like networking with other prospective students and other alumni, and yeah, right. Good luck with your study. And since you're, well, I mean, you're planning to do like for 2023, you have tons of time. So take it slow. Start like asking yourself, okay, so I want to study in the US. Which area that I can kind of like improve on, right? And again, what I like to touch first is your English capability, like in terms of like the TOEFL or IELTS, right? Thank you for the question. Is there anybody else?
So I want to shout out to Setia Parasian. So you mentioned you sent a private question to my chat box, and do you mind turning on your video? I sent you a reply on that, and I haven't get back on the answer.
Bye. Hi,
Hi,
Santika.
thank you
She's
so
my
much for.
daughter.
Oh, hi.
I am with my daughter right now. Hi, Fina. Say hello to Fina.
Hi. Thank you for joining in.
Okay. A bit busy in my room every
Oh,
day
okay.
because I have
Thank you
little
so much
daughter.
for your time.
Yep.
Yeah. So do you have any questions or?
Share your experience on your PhD application that you mentioned to me just now.
Or maybe I guess Satya is just kind of like want to say hi and you know, like have his daughter kind of like, which is totally fine.
I think
totally fine.
Yeah, it's totally fine. So yeah, I have Robert just raise his hand.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Robert. Yeah, I already been accepted to Harvard Summer School, and I'm in the process of applying for visa. But suddenly I hear from the U.S. Embassy that they are not open yet for visa application. So I already received my I-20 through FedEx I-20. And then now I want to apply for the visa, but they are not open yet. Do you have an idea when they are gonna?
Yeah, thank you for the questions. And yeah, so like I said earlier, unfortunately, we don't know when the visa office is going to open. So please just stay tuned and just wait. Hopefully, soon you can actually apply for. Yes.
All right. We are back. So Satya is back on the video, and
okay,
I wonder.
Satya, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to unmute.
Okay.
Yeah, please share with us. Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Setia Parasian, but you can call me Ian. That's my nickname. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate an email so that now I'm with you all guys, and then I'd like to share with my PhD application. Obviously, I got a letter of support from our government, LPDP scholarship. I think everyone here got scholarship just like me, but I have a difficulty in preparing GRE test because I'm quite old at the moment. I'm 42 years old, but I'm eager to study to pursue my PhD. And the reason why I got hectic in preparing a GRE test because I'm very busy at the office and I don't have time to prepare for the test. That's can you suggest me how can fast track preparing GRE test with the limited amount of preparation? I mean limited amount of available time every day to study for GRE test because my professor said that even though I like your research proposal, but you have to you have to submit your application within the what we call within the time limit under the university requirement. That is why I don't have a privilege. I'm just like another student to to I have to submit a regular application. That's why
What is your research about?
about the cash management, public sector management.
Public sector management. Okay.
Yeah, and my potential professor is Yilin Hu from Syracuse University. I
Syracuse
think he is
University. Got it.
one of the best professor who who publish many research publication regarding this area.
Have you taken
And
any TOEFL or IELTS? Where's your how is your TOEFL or IELTS score? Have you taken that?
yeah, there is another second requirement that I have to prepare
Yeah.
DRE and TOEFL test. But
So you have not taken any TOEFL or IELTS before?
yes, TOEFL and IELTS. The one that I already taken was what we call it TOEIC test.
Yeah.
In order to be eligible for LPDP scholarship, I last year I've taken TOEIC test and I got 880 for TOEIC test. And after a series of application, I was one of the awardees for LPDP scholarship. That's I think.
Oh, you are
That's
already an
all.
awardee?
Yes, I'm an awardee now, and I'm right now. You know, I'm trying to be accepted to
Okay.
Syracuse University.
Got it. So I'll be happy to answer that. Thank you so much, Setia.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, congratulations on the LPDP scholarship. We all know how selective that scholarship is. So you are definitely like one of a kind. Again, like congratulations on that. And it's really good that you're already in contact with a professor in Syracuse University, New York. That's great. That's usually how PhD candidate start with. So you will want to kind of like have a personal introduction, have a personal connection with the professor, and then we can move on to the administrative part, which is like the TOEFL, the GRE. And so in this case, because since you've not taken any like TOEFL, again, that's something that I would recommend you to take, but maybe not like the real test if you're not ready, because as we like all of us know, right? Like taking the real TOEFL test it's not cheap, right? It's $205 US, almost like 3 juta rupiah, right? So I would like recommend you to do kind of like the mock test, and I believe Bu Hafil from our TOEFL class mentioned about, is it TPO, right? The task practice online or something for, I think, 750,000, like about $50 or so, before you take the real test. So that mock test is kind of like almost similar to like the real test itself. So I would like to start that. I would like to start there. However, you may not have like a really long time to spare to prepare your application, which in this case that can be like also another tricky thing, right? So usually, like I like to tell people, like when they need to work on their English first, take as long as you need, right? Like 6 months, even like a year, or maybe even like more than that. So it really depends from one person to another. So that's that. So I may not have like a lot of uh, um, good tips for you right now, other than try like like in the English department, which is like on your TOEFL and your TOEFL or IELTS. I hope that might make sense.
Thank you.
Thank you. All
Thank you,
right.
Fina, for your advice. Okay.
Sure. Thank you. And we are here once you are kind of like ready, whenever that is. Like, hey, Fina, like now my English is so much better. I'm ready to actually do the application process. Do you mind like reviewing my statement of purpose or my essay? And we'll be happy to do that. All right. Thank you.
All right.
And my
Thank
team
you.
told me that we can actually go with Fadil.
Yes, because I see he is raising his hand, so I just asked him if we have any question, but I haven't get any question yet from him. So
Okay, Fadil.
before that, I have Reynardus Joseph. In the chat box, he said, "Hello at America Education USA. Would you please tell us the stories of students who currently on their studies, especially on the challenge that they face in the situation or the quarantine, so we can anticipate what we are going to face on fall 2020." So first thing first, I forgot to actually tell you guys that we are going to have a session on Thursday, a very special one. It's called Social Distancing and What's Happening with US Universities. So we invite one US university representative to actually talk about that topic, like how is the university adjusting and how are the students coping with the online classes and everything. So I recommend Reynardus and everyone who have the similar question to tune in for that. The event or the session will be on this Thursday, 9 April, from 1 until 2 p.m. Right? So you can also check that out in the adamerica.or.id website and Education USA tab specifically. So for now we don't really have a student that shared their hardship, the current situation for the quarantine, Fina.
Yeah, and actually, I really look coming Thursday, which I really urge everyone to do the same. Because I want to hear the whole thing as well. I want to hear like the interview, and in fact, we are actually going to have one current student from Indonesia who is currently in the U.S. She's a student from University of Southern California, studying entrepreneurship. And we will have like a short interview with her to kind of like share with us like what is like the whole situation with like online classes and all that. So yeah, I would definitely like if you can. It's going to be this coming Thursday at 1, and Santika will basically moderate that event, right? Yep. And we'll do the opposite. I will be in the room and I'll kind of like just stay tuned if there's like any questions or anything like that.
Yes, we take turns and we got each other's back. So you don't have to worry if you meet Fina, you don't have to be scared to meet me, or if you meet me, you don't have to be scared to meet Fina either. So okay, we have the questions from tadi siapa ya?
Fadil.
So yeah, Fadil.
Yeah, could you hear me?
How is? Do you have your video on? Hi, Fadil.
Yes. Yeah, we can see Fadil. Okay.
Okay, so thank you for having this event and quick introduction. I am Fadil. I am an incoming PhD student for this fall 2020. I got several offers from US University, like from 5 schools, and I have two questions actually. My first question is for PhD studies, since it's a long-term study, right? It's like 4 to 5 years. In your opinion, what should I consider to choose the school? I have shortlisted the school and I have like top 2 of them. And obviously my first priority is about the research. but I just want to get like other opinion about what thing to consider. Maybe something like Indonesian community in the city, and then the city itself, and then, yeah, something like that. And my second question is about the pre-departure process for an incoming PhD student. Like visa and service I-20. Just I heard that a lot, but I haven't like know the detail about that process.
Okay, Fadil, congratulations. Can you share with us which universities that you got into?
I got accepted to Stony Brook University, and then the UC Santa Cruz, and then Penn State, and also UMass Amherst, and also Virginia Tech.
Wow, and what is like your research proposal about?
My main research is on computer science.
Wow. Wow. So are you currently on LPDP or?
No, I'll use the stipend assistantship to support
from the
my
university. Great. Okay, I got your question. I'll be happy to answer that. Thank you so much, Fadil, for the question. Congratulations. You know what? I think this is my favorite day. I mean, today I got one of my advisees. Also, we had like a Zoom session where she shared with me that she also got accepted. And I asked her, hey, can I actually use your story to my event? And then she said, yeah, no, absolutely. Or even if you want me to kind of like share with everybody, I'll be happy. So this is like, it's really interesting. So she applies for like master's program and PhD. Right, so she has not done any master's program before, but then, as you may already know, in the U.S., there are like a number of programs where you can go straight to PhD, right? And so I think she applied to like a lot of campuses, like including Harvard, Columbia, SIPA, what else? And then like for the PhD, she got accepted to UW, University of Washington, and then got accepted to University of Minnesota and University of Maryland. And guess what? Like when I heard her saying that, oh yeah, I got my master's in Harvard, and I'm like pretty sure like she will pick Harvard. And then turns out she's turning Harvard down. So she told me that she will take University of Maryland as her study. And also like this is something that I would like to share with a lot of you guys, right? Especially if you want to study PhD. And this is amazing knowing that we have Setia, we have Fadil. Setia is still like in the application process, but I love knowing that more and more and more Indonesian students want to do PhD in the US, because exactly like what Fadil said, like I wouldn't be surprised if you don't have LPDP. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't have Fulbright when you want to do PhD. Why? Because the beauty of doing a PhD in the US is that they have a lot of funding. They have a lot of funding available. Like my advisor earlier, her name is Akila. He got accepted to 3 PhD program from 3 different universities, and all of like the 3 of these campuses offer like different kind of like stipend. They call it like different thing. They call it stipend, they call it grant, but usually it's very, very common where if you want to do PhD, they will basically just like waive your tuition altogether. You don't have to pay like a penny for your tuition. And in return, they are going to give you, again, they call it stipend, which kind of like will cover basically everything, like your accommodation and all that, right? So again, congratulations, Fadil. We can definitely continue this talk one-on-one because yeah, like what Akila concerned earlier is also about like finding housing and like the Indonesian community there. I can basically like share what I know because Santika and I, both of us, like went to, we spent like in like a good years in the US as well, so we can kind of like share with you like certain area and all that, and this is also like definitely the kind of questions that we like to answer during our pre-departure orientation. So Fadil, I really hope you can email us if Santika can leave in the chat box our email and basically like share with us like your name. Oh wait, you know what? Like I actually can see your because you have to register, right? My bad. Like I can actually like have your email, and then we can kind of like put you in the database, and so you're not going to missing out on anything related like departure to the US. So again, like what I like to do here is not like I like to tell as many people as possible, especially like our advisees, that you're not going to be alone, right? I know a lot of people kind of like, oh my god, like I'm so excited I get accepted, but then some of us kind of like concerned, like, but I don't know anybody, like I don't know where to start, like what next, right? You don't have to worry about that. This is like the beauty of like having us here, Education USA, because we have a lot of like advices database, and for someone like you, we can definitely like connect you with like either alumni from that specific university, or like even students, current students, right? So if you're kind of like also wondering, okay, now I got accepted to these campuses, what are the next steps? I'm planning to actually have a separate session on that, maybe like 2 weeks from now, because we are still kind of like accepting good news from people about their acceptance. But I would love to have like 40-minute session basically talking about like what are the next steps after you got accepted. Like maybe you're not sure, should I get I-20 or DS 2019? And maybe some of you kind of like, what are the differences between I-20 and DS 2019? Is it F1 or J1? If I want to bring my spouse, can I do that? Can they work? Can they take classes? So that kind of questions, I'll be happy to kind of like answer. That is also like the thing that we provide the answer during the PDO, but I would like to kind of like break it down into like little events. All right. Congratulations, Fadil, and I hope we answered the question. But yeah, Santika.
Hi, Finn. So we have like 4 minutes left, and we still have questions left. And one of them is Vulcania, who actually emailed us, if you remember. So yeah, I think she have a very quick question. Hi, Vulcania.
Hi, thank you so much, Fina and Santika, for having all of us here. I was just wondering, do you have any tips on how to go about with asking for deferrals? Because I've been accepted to a American uni this year, but
Where?
given Harvard.
Alright.
Thank you so much, and funding also, because I think a lot of us are waiting for LPDP to open, right? And it's not opened yet. So I think that I may have to defer. But I heard that from a friend who has a friend who studied there. He was basically recommending me, oh, don't say that you're deferring because of financial reasons. They may reject you. Instead, say that it's from COVID or something like that. So do you have any tips on, how to navigate this in a way that, makes it more likely that they will accept your deferral? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Vulcania, and congratulations. Oh my God, I love this session already. More and more people got accepted, and I hope for those of you who kind of like still in the application process, it's kind of like give you kind of like more like excitement to kind of like, hey, they can get accepted. I can too, right? But again, congratulations. So questions about deferral, since I only have like 4 minutes here. In the past, I don't see a lot of issue when it comes to deferral. Some universities kind of like can be very strict, like to the point where in their, letter, the admissions letter, they said, we're not allow you to do like deferral, right? So for example, I actually get someone emailed Santika and I, she got accepted to MIT. Was concerned about like, look, I don't have any funding yet. I'm still waiting for LPDP and all that. And they specifically before too. I actually have like an advisee back in the days where, yeah, they're not like accepting any deferral. Contact them still, right? Because like when it comes to like graduate program in the US, it's always like a case by case, the way they deal with applicants. Yeah, some current students kind of like, yeah, no, don't say anything about like you're still looking for funding. I kind of like agree. So first of all, universities, they actually don't really like when people asking for deferral, because they actually make a good reason why they want you to start in that specific term, right? So they're not really like a big fan of deferral. But in reality, if you actually have like a really good reason, and yeah, when you kind of like brought that thing, when you kind of like say, yeah, I'm still looking for funding, they kind of like, oh my God, like why don't you just like apply when you know you have funding, right? But I actually have one trick which always happen all the time. I tell them, like with this LPDP situation, well, not situation, with LPDP, now that you already get an LOA from Harvard, your chance to get LPDP is high, correct? So tell them, yeah. So tell them kind of like an assurance. So when you're writing the email and explaining the situation, tell them that all I need is, like 1 year deferral. And then you kind of like tell them a little bit about like this LPDP thing, that this is like the most competitive and what was the other thing that I like people to say, the most competitive the most competitive and prestigious scholarship provided by the government of Indonesia. And now that I have received an LOA from Harvard, my chance of getting in will be very, very high, or something along that lines, right? And so in that case, when Harvard people kind of like see that letter, they kind of like, oh, okay, I know we get it with this whole like scholarship situation and stuff. So I have like some people kind of like not sure to go this route. Like, Fina, are you sure? Because I'm not. They keep saying, like they clearly stated in the website that they're not accepting deferral, and I will be like, no, send that email because that will work. And especially now with the current situation, again, I see actually a lot of universities that now they are becoming more flexible. So with this situation with this person who got accepted to MIT, the first time she emailed me kind of like a couple of weeks back, she said she was like really concerned because the university clearly state that they're not accepting deferral. But then when I kind of like explained to her about like what I just explained to you, she emailed me back and say that, hey, I actually just received an email from MIT a couple of days ago saying that now with the current situation, they allow us to do deferral. So check with Harvard on that. So that's that. I have Anton here. That means I think that's my cue to stop. But Sulkania, thank you. I will make sure Santika and I put you on the database so you're not missing out on our PDO.
All right. See you guys Thursday.
Thank you very much, Fina and Santika, for the very wonderful discussion. I hope all of us here are now more informed on studying in the United States from a lot of perspectives. And I would, before we end tonight's event, I would first like to go back to our icebreaker question, and that is, which early U.S. patriot and inventor founded the University of Pennsylvania? And the correct answer is C, Benjamin Franklin. Unfortunately, no one was able to win our social media shout out quiz tonight, and we hope that you will try again on our next event. And you might also be wondering how you can develop an awesome idea for this amazing place. Well, don't worry, you can send your event proposal to us by going to our website, www.atamerica.or.id. You can go to create an event and then choose collaborate with us. You can send your event proposal there, and all of the event proposals that come to us will be reviewed, and your event may just end up here very soon. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter from our website for more information straight to your inbox. Well, unfortunately we have to end tonight's event. It has been fun, folks. Don't forget to follow us on our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at AT America. And also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we hope to see you again at the next Ad America TV program. Goodbye, and thank you, everyone.